Is it okay? Yes. Okay, hello guys, and welcome to another video today. Today we're going to be talking about contract talks, football players, and how you can get an agent. So then we're going to get into your Q&A, and then we're going to give you a little bit some rules and regulation that governs FIFA or governs agents. So first, let's check what we have for you guys. Then we're going to give a little bit of details into that. So the first thing we're going to be talking on is going to be what is a football contract, key component of a contract, importance of a legal review of a contract, finding the right agent, which is very important for a football player. How do you spot a good agent or a bad agent? Then we're going to go now into your Q&A questions. Whatever you can ask, then we're going to do that. But if not, then I'm going to keep explaining a little bit of few stuffs. Then we are done there. We're done with that. So that's the program. But first, Brian, and FIFA licensed agent. So I think I'm in better position to explain all these rules and regulations to you guys so that you guys don't miss, or you guys always have a little bit of details or information about what is going on in the football world, because it's quite important. As a young player, I know you just want to play football. You don't want to think about rules and regulations, but it's always quite important that if you can have a little bit of an idea about how the regulation goes so that you can handle a little bit of issues if you have a problem in the future. Because we see the situation where a lot of players have been maybe traveled or promised that they are having trials or whatsoever, and when they arrive there, they have no trials. So it's good that if you know a little bit of idea about these things, you're going to prevent certain situations to spot who is a good agent, who is a bad agent, and well, just general basic things that you need to know. You don't need to know a lot about the law, but there are things that it will be good for you just to gain a little bit of idea about what is happening when it comes to the football world. So without hesitating, let's go into it. The first one we're looking at is everything about football contracts. So what is a football contract? Of course, we all know a football contract is a legal document or a piece of paper that has been given to you that you sign or to represent a club. That may be in a duration of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It depends how the club values you. So that's quite important that you know that. And when having a football contract, it passes. Let me say, you have an agent that work or does these things for you, but still you need to have a little bit of basic idea. What are these things happening? Is someone misusing you, or is someone just trying to be an agent to get your money, or whatsoever things? It's just good to have an idea of all these things, because the world today is quite a different place. You have to be a little bit smart to know what is happening. So a contract also, let me say, what's a contract? A contract includes salary, that's with your salary, bonuses that it might be there if you're playing well, the length of your contract also. It's also it also, let's say, shows how the team values you. A team who comes and offer you 1 year contract, maybe you are thinking like, okay, they are still trying to see who I am. But when a club already know that you're playing that good, most likely they will say 3 to 5 years contract, for example. And according to FIFA rules and regulation, the maximum duration of a contract is 5 years. Of course, you have to check with the country, but internationally, maximum duration of a contract should be 5 years. So that's according to FIFA rule. But we see in a contract these days that Chelsea have given some players contract with, is it 8 years, like Enzo Fernandez and other people. So this goes according to the rules and regulation of that country. But normal FIFA, normal regulation is that FIFA, normal rules and regulation from FIFA is that a contract must be, the maximum validity of a contract is like 5 years. So let's look at what are the key components of a contract. Of course, the salary and the bonuses, monthly pay, and incentive-based performance. Maybe it might be only paid. They might say, okay, if you score 20 goals, if you're a striker, you're going to activate these bonuses. And also, yeah, that can happen. It depends how your contract goes, how the agent negotiates everything. So these are quite key components. And also the duration of your contract. Also, your agent that you're working with has to be also, let's say, smart to look what age are you. Do you need a long-term contract or do you need a short-term contract? All these things are things that when you have a good agent can evaluate it. And also the next things we can look at is your release clause as a player. Your release clause is also, let's say, when you sign for a club, they might see that you are a good player and they put a release clause. A release clause is a certain amount of money they put on your that if any club wants to buy you or wants to pay, you can come and pay that money, which means they don't need to enter into negotiation with the club. They just pay that money and move. Then your image rights for football players at the highest level. Yes, that's also another thing. That's your branding, your brand. But goes to when to players who are top players when they have the brands. So for an upcoming player, it's also good to have an idea that because when you start maybe going to your peak or start developing, going better, playing better, there are people who are going to come for you, like the Adidas, the Nike, and all these kind of brands. So it's good to also know what is involved in these things. And then we look at the termination clause. Termination clause is, for example, there are also rules and regulations in the football club that if you do this, then you're going to trigger this termination clause. So you have to behave accordingly. You have to be respectful to your opposition or whatsoever things. You have to respect the rules and regulations of the club so that this place is a good working environment for everybody. So these are few things that players living in different continent or whatsoever, because due to cultural whatsoever thing they may have, they don't know a little bit most of this, but it's always good to have an idea of all these kind of basics and to have it's always important to review all these legal rights. And also it's also good to know your rights as a football player, what you can do and what you cannot do. So these are the valuable things that it's good to always have basic ideas in it. So the next thing we'll be talking of finding the right agent. So what is finding the right agent? And first of all, when we go about that, who is an agent? So if we say an agent is someone who represents you in a contract. So this is someone that has been officially given a license by FIFA to represent an individual. Before 2015, there was the case of intermediary that they represent players. You hear stuff like parents represent their sons or their daughters or whatsoever, but those things from 2015 onward, FIFA had regulated the agency and that had stopped. So it doesn't work. Your parents can't represent you. Why is this rule? Because there was this situation also. I think the most famous case was the case of Javier Mascherano and Carlos Tevez moving to West Ham, that they were being owned by third parties. So this made the case quite complicated for their transfer to move to other clubs because they were involved in third parties, which means the third parties could always ask maybe for money or whatsoever thing. So this was quite the situation that normally the third party also was banned from FIFA. So there's no also third party involved. There's no third party involvement now. So actually, to have an agent now, to be an agent, the agent must be a licensed person. Your parents can't represent you any longer. But before, it used to be like that you can have someone who is working in the football world, any relative. It doesn't even need to be your parent. But now anybody who has to represent you has to be a family. He has to be a licensed agent, not a family member, not so ever. So every player you see now has an agent which is licensed by FIFA. As I said, the rule was being regulated in 2015, and there's no more room for maybe fake agent or whatsoever. So the agency is quite regulated that any agent that you come across, it's easy for you to know because you can ask the agent, what's your license number? And he can give you his FIFA license number, and you can also check to see if it's a right agent or not. So those are the things that have also made the company more better or the organization more better. So the next thing, how do you spot a good agent and who is a bad agent? So a good agent first should have a license, should be licensed first. That's the minimum requirement. So is he experienced in or familiar in transfers? So you have to know that if has he done well. He might be also starting also as a new person in the business, but you have to try to spot what is his interest. You have to keep talking with him. Does he try to text you or ask his interest to be about you, because an agent represents you. Is about guiding your career to go smoothly. So I give an example. If a good agent, when a good agent looks as a player at a player, let's say that player is 18 years and is a talented player, that agent should be looking like, okay, I would like to market this player, or I would like to be with this player up to maybe his 30s. So what he designs a roadmap that, okay, you play here, you're going to have game time. You're not going to have much money here, but you're going to have enough game time here. This game time is going to secure you to your next big move. So, and he looks after you like a younger brother or whatsoever you might be to him. But you people have to have that close relationship. So an agent has to be trustworthy and has to prioritize your career for personal gain. I mean, for your personal gain, your career should be his main goal, not his pocket. So those are the things that you have to see. And then to spot agents who are red flags agent, I give an example. An agent who is asking for a high upfront fee to work with you. No, that's not good, because first, he shouldn't be asking for that money. Lack of transparency in the deal that it has been done. He doesn't want to talk to you or about that. He just say, keep playing, I'm going to do my part. So that's not good. So you have to spot on that, all those kind of things, because an agent should be able to reveal to you, sit with you down and speak to you everything that is happening with the meetings that he goes with the club. So those are few things that you need to recognize about an agent. Then on the question of, there's a question here, what is a third party in football? So let's give an example. A third party in football is, so a third party is like, I give an example. If a player, the definition first of a third party is any individual who is like, let's say if I have signed for a club, if I'm signing for a club and I have my previous clubs, I have my club and my previous clubs, and I'm signing for a new club. These people are not third party, but any person apart from that is a third party. Let's take, for example, my former club is not a third party because will have something to do with my transfers. So a third party is someone who has, let me say, someone who has nothing to do with your transfers, something like that. And of course, they also put sometimes agents as third party, but yeah, that's a third party. So FIFA also has said there's no room also for third parties like an owner or an investment fund. Let me give you an example. An investment fund, an owner trying to have a right for you. Let me give an example. Like, you can have an investment fund come and say, okay, try to pay a club huge set of money to have a certain percentage of your transfer in the future. So those things don't work these days anymore, because FIFA has actually regulated that. And so there's also this thing that I was being asked from the chat, this question, that players who are quite 18, who are 18 years old from Africa, from Africa, Asia, or whatsoever place, except Europe, can sign. Let's say, give an example. If you're 16, 17, you can't move to Europe as someone from other continents. But whereas a 16 or 17 years old or 16 years can sign a professional contract in Europe. So why are these things happening? So let's take, for example, in Europe, if you're 16 years, you can sign a professional contract. In Africa, Asia, you can't sign. So this little bit of things you have to know. So if an agent comes to you and say he wants to make you sign that you can move to Europe when you are 16 or 17 years and he gives you a professional contract, no, it cannot go, because it doesn't work like that. According to FIFA rules and regulation, that only happens only when you are in Europe, and you cannot move from your place where you are to come here to sign a professional contract, except you're already 18. So these are the things that you need to have a little bit of you need to have a little bit of idea about. So, and another thing is key tips for contract negotiation. So when we talk of contracts, it's good for your agent to have a little bit of negotiation skills. He should know what he's dealing with, because you're going to come up against football clubs who are quite huge, who are going to try to maybe intimidate the agent or whatsoever. So when working with an agent, it's good he should be quite educationally sound to know how to handle this kind of situation, because it's a big industry, and it's quite that's difficult if you are to try to go to a negotiation without knowing anything, without knowing whatever you're doing. So let's check if there's any questions and answer. Okay, no question and answer yet. Okay, so this was it for rules and regulation, and I hope I helped you guys try to answer your questions. So leave comments if you see this video, if you're seeing the video late, and endeavor to like, share, or subscribe. I'm here to help you guys, guide you guys, give you information about what contracts are all about, or football training methods, how to train, and let's say as midfielder, attacker, striker, whatsoever, because I used to also coach a lot of kids, people. I played also. So I have a little bit of idea about most of these things, because I've also coached. So just to give you guys a little bit of basics on that, how you can manage or how you can improve your ball control, your awareness, your physicality, anything, because I have basics on this, even with nutrition, just general football idea. So do endeavor to leave your question. If you have any question when seeing this video, leave your question and I'm going to get back to you in the comment section. So do endeavor to subscribe, like, and share, and have fun. See you. Cheers.